fourth graders, today for English class, we're going to be looking more at dependent clauses, which are another type of fragment. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a predicate. So, for example, if I said the store, that's not a clause. If I said the big blue house, not a clause. A clause does have a subject and a verb. If it's an independent clause, it's the same as a sentence. The big blue house is across the street. Sentence. Independent clause. Independent clause, sentence, same thing. But a dependent clause has the subject and the verb, but it's not a sentence. It can't stand alone. And it has those introductory joining words, like although, because, since, until, when, where. Since the big blue house was across the street, see, it leaves you wanting to know more information, and that's because it's not a complete thought. It doesn't have what is being joined to the first subject and verb. So a dependent clause has these words in the front, okay? That's what we went over yesterday. Today, we're going to look at it again and how you can change it so that it's not a fragment anymore. A dependent clause is another type of fragment. You can change this type of fragment into a sentence by removing the joining word. Since the captain saw the lighthouse, that's a fragment, a dependent clause. If we get rid of the word since, we could just say the captain saw the lighthouse, and now it's a sentence. So to change a dependent clause into an independent clause, you remove the introductory word, remove the joining word. Very simple, isn't it? So for this section, you have to decide, is it an independent clause or a dependent clause? And if it's a dependent clause, you need to change it so that it can become an independent clause by removing the joining word. So the Cape Flattery Lighthouse is important. Independent clause. Doesn't have a joining word. It's a complete thought. Number 2, since the lighthouse was built on Native American islands, that's a dependent clause. So let's remove the word since. The lighthouse was built on the Native American islands. You need to rewrite the sentence. Don't be lazy and just cross it out. Do the work and rewrite that sentence. Number 3, Duluth Island was used for many years by the Makah Indians. Independent clause. Number 4, the lighthouse was built where the Makahs had potluck ceremonies. Independent clause. Number 5, construction on the lighthouse was slow. Independent clause. And then number 6, when the lighthouse was finished after 1.5 years, dependent clause. So get rid of the word when and then rewrite the sentence so it says the lighthouse was finished after 1.5 years. So for this front page here, you only had 2 dependent clauses. Please make sure that you do actually rewrite those dependent clauses, but you don't have to rewrite the independent clauses. Same thing again on the back. Decide, is it independent or dependent? If it's dependent, get rid of that introduction word and rewrite it. Now down below it says, think about how God wants Christians to solve their disagreements. How could you complete the dependent and independent clauses in this sentence? When I blank, God wants me to blank. Fill that in your mind and complete those clauses. Now, as we move to reading class, we're going to read today about the rhinoceros. The Rhinoceros is written by Ogden Nash. It was illustrated by Cynthia Long, and we're going to read pages 628 and 629 here. So we've got a couple vocabulary words: farewell, homely, nature. Grandpa waved and called farewell as he backed the car out of the driveway. Farewell means goodbye. Number 2, the anteater with its narrow head and long nose is a homely beast. Homely means not very pretty. Number 3, people who do not believe in God sometimes give Mother Nature the credit for creation, nature being the things that are outside. Now this genre is poetry. Remember, poetry expresses ideas and feeling, often in only a few lines. A poem uses words for their sounds and rhythm and for the pictures they create in our minds. Remember, poetry is different from other genres because it doesn't have to have paragraphs, it doesn't have to follow the same writing structure, and it's written in lines. Now, the big idea here is that a poem may be written to amuse or entertain the reader. So as we go about today, the author's craft page on 628, you can see the author's craft has to do with wordplay. So how does an author use wordplay to create humor? An author may use a word for its double meaning or its sound. For example, we can see wordplay is using words in a clever way that often creates humor. An author may choose a word for its double meaning or sound. The third baseman danced his way to the ball. The court jester was entertaining the king by telling jokes as he juggled eggs. When he dropped the egg, a king pointed at him, laughing. This time the yolk's on you. So this author's craft of wordplay is often very similar to like making a joke, where you make one word seem like something else. Ogden Nash was a famous American poet. He's known for his humorous poetry using wordplay. Nash purposely misspelled words to make them fit in a poem's rhyme pattern. He even invented words to complete his humorous verses. So as you read here about the rhinoceros, you're going to see some funny words and some words that are a bit unusual. So please read the poem Rhinoceros, short little thing. And then you're going to work on page 251 to 252. For 251, you need to reread the rhinoceros and mark the correct answers. Then you're going to practice with wordplay on the back. You're going to choose an animal you'd like to write about and list several of the animal's characteristics. Then apply some form of wordplay to each characteristic by either misspelling a word, giving a word a double meaning, or an exaggeration. And then use wordplay to help you write your own 4-line poem. So at the top of here, we can see one about the bumblebee. The bumble and the honeybee, their names do suit them well, for the humble and the bunny bee would not be half so swell. So you can see they took bumble and made a rhyming word, made honey and made a rhyming word. So you can think of an animal and come up with some funny ways to talk about the animal and write 4 lines of a poem. Now, as you go to spelling today, page 123, you're going to write the spelling word that matches each clue. You're going to write the spelling word that completes each sentence, and then circle the parentheses, the word that best completes each sentence. So you're practicing with the meanings of the word today. Please be sure you're spelling them correctly as you work through this page.